I'm somewhat troubled, and I wonder if you folk might be able to help me. I've been doing a video on the Beyerdynamic M88 TG, this one, which doesn't seem to be a TG to me. I've just done that video, you might have seen it. It's there. And as I was using it, I thought, what a wonderful microphone it is. The specs, 30 Hz to 20 kHz, from a design in 1962, fast, light diaphragm, all the stuff that you want. And I thought, have things improved at all? Really? Let me have a look at one of the newest designs that I've got, which is the Shure KSM8, which is a microphone I like and I've recommended. So I looked at the Shure website and I thought I'd look at what the KSM8 is about. They put considerable time into developing it, and let's just hear it compared to the 1962 design and see what's what. So on the Shure website, I'm not sure where this is, but it if you search for something like KSM8 overview, benefits and technical details, and I'm just going to scroll down and we'll just hear it for real, hopefully, if we can. Before I do that, give you some information. You can find this for yourself. The Shure KSM8, 40 Hz to 16 kHz. The Beyerdynamic M88, 30 Hz to 20 kHz. The Shure is cardioid. The Beyerdynamic is hypercardioid. In the UK, you can buy this new for about £375. In the UK, you can buy the new version of this for £240, but for vocals, I favour the older version, which you can get for considerably less if you're lucky, and sometimes more. So round about the same, £240 plus or minus. I'm on the in another jaunty position. I'm experimenting with using the Rode Classic 2 valve mic. As you can hear, it's got some shape to it. Shh, shh, shh. But if I'm not reviewing the mic, then I don't need a flat microphone. If I'm just chatting to you, then I'm thinking, let me use this and see. I don't know, just see. Why not? I've got it, so use it for now. Anyway. Okay, one of the main things about this is the dual diaphragm and the reduction in proximity. Loads of stuff about this. It's very interesting. They've been very thorough. So it means a greater working distance. I won't go through all this. It said proximity can affect warmth, but also causes muddiness and degrading the intelligibility. Yes, if you get loads of boom over it, it degrades the intelligibility. With high quality equipment, I find that's not necessarily the case. But you need class equipment, the equivalent to a high-end mic. The other thing they said is that the shaping on this, you can look at, I won't put the graphs on because you can find them. I've reviewed this before, some time ago. The shaping at the top is subtler than in many mics, certainly than if you look at the SM58 or the Beta 58, so on and so forth. And they said the reason for that is because it hasn't got the proximity coming up at the low end. You don't need that. And another consequence of that, they say, is that then you're likely to get less feedback because you haven't got that high end pushing. Okay, I haven't noticed that with this, by the way, but this has got a very broad and gentle lift anyway. So let's just hear that on this. Now I'm on the Shure KSM8. I'm on the Shure KSM8. I'm going to bring it in closer. There's the Shure KSM8. I'm going to bring it right in. There's the Shure KSM8. You can hear there is some proximity there. I'm going to take it further away, and the bass is probably still there. Yeah, it's very even, very even, very even, very even, very even, very even, very even. Bring it right in. We compare that to the M88. And here's the Beyerdynamic M88. I'm aware of a bit more of a push there. Let me bring it in. There's the Beyerdynamic M88. And you can hear there's about the right balance. You can hear the proximity coming in. If I bring the Beyerdynamic M88 in closer, then you can hear that there's a considerable proximity effect. So let me take it to about there, to about there. I'm going to put them both together. Shure KSM8, Shure KSM8, Beyerdynamic M88, Beyerdynamic M88, Shure KSM8, bring them a bit closer, Shure KSM8, Shure KSM8, Beyerdynamic M88, Beyerdynamic M88, bit closer still, Shure KSM8, Shure KSM8, Beyerdynamic M88, Beyerdynamic M88, so I need to bring that away a bit. So yes, there is a reduced proximity. I found, practically speaking, that I don't really need that. But it might be of use to people that want to bring the mic, keep the mic very close. With the Beyerdynamic M88, you've got to be a bit of an artist with the mic. You've got to understand it and to work it. But that's something I enjoy having at my disposal. So I don't need that removed. But what they say works, as I said in the review of them before. Natural frequency response, because they don't have that boost, they say. They say it adds brightness and many find it pleasing. But then they say the other reason for this is to balance the low notes. So just with that in mind, let's just listen. Top end we're listening to, which is quite smooth, which is quite smooth, which is quite smooth, which is quite smooth. What about the Beyerdynamic M88? Top end there, top end is smooth there. The top end is smooth. Put them together. Listening to the top end of the KSM8. Listening to the top end of the KSM8. Listening to the top end of the KSM8. Listening to the top end of the M88. Listening to the top end of the M88. To me, the M88 is sweeter. To me, the M88 is sweeter. KSM8. KS. That's the KSM8. KSM8. That's the M88. Difficult to say, but to me, the M88 is more detailed and just seems to be a little bit more open. The specs do say it goes higher. This one starts falling off at around 16 or a bit before, and this one starts falling off 20 or a bit before. So maybe that's par for the course, is what they say. Neither of these have got super peaks at the top. Uniform cardioid polar pattern. Well, I've done the test on that before. I'm sure it is. Reduced plosives. We'll see about that. This is the KSM8. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you're fooling? Who do you think you're fooling? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Who do you think you're fooling? M88. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Who do you think you're fooling? Who do you think you're fooling? To me then, not much to choose between them. This one goes lower and maintains that with the proximity, so there's more of the low end thump. But yeah, so I guess reduced. But of course with the M88, if I do 100 Hertz cut, Peter Piper picked a peck, Peter Piper picked a peck, Peter Piper picked a peck, so it's gone. 100 Hertz is a bit high. The bass on this desk is 80 Hertz, let me take a little bit of 80 down. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck. So, if you want to remove the bass, then you can on the desk. Goes on to say with the KSM8, improved moisture resistance. The KSM8 grill is lined with water-resistant hydrophobic fabric. I'm sure it is. Can't retest that. Increased output level. These two are visually, the desk is the same, both channels, and I don't notice much in the way of output level. And pneumatic shock mount. The shock mount concept from the Unidyne 3. On this site, they mostly compare this to their earlier Unidyne 3. But on this one, it says the KSM8 diaphragm remains nearly motionless no matter the direction of the physical vibration, up, down, left or right. Well, if you're wearing headphones, there's a considerable amount of low-end thunder. The covering is slightly tacky, so that makes my hand stick and move in judders, so that creates that. There's not much high-frequency stuff. You can probably hear a little bit there, but there's a considerable amount of low-frequency noise, which would... I'm emulating a microphone stand because obviously it's not going to be sliding in a microphone stand, but thumping through the floor and so on. That's what that sounds like compared to the M88. In the hand, there's less low-end stuff on the M88, but more. It's picking up more of the sound from the slightly grippy. It's not quite as rubbery feeling as the KSM8. It's a bit more textured feeling, so it picks up more. I would say the KSM8 is slightly worse in that regard, but not with the high frequency stuff. With the low frequency stuff, it's slightly noisier. And that's about it. So if you can bear it, I'm going to put them both together and just whip through one more time. Proximity effect, proximity effect, proximity effect on the KSM8, proximity effect on the KSM8, the KSM8, the KSM8, the KSM8, the KSM8, proximity. Proximity effect on the M88, proximity effect on the M88, proximity effect on the M88, the M88, the M88, the KSM8, the KSM8, the M88, the M88, the KSM8, more shut in, I feel. The KSM8 I noticed just there. Natural frequency response. Let's move them away a bit. You can hear some of the room. Natural frequency response. Natural frequency response. Smooth KSM8. Natural frequency response. M88. Natural frequency response. Natural frequency response. Natural frequency response. Watch that. Natural frequency response. Response. KSM8. Response. Response. Natural. Yeah. I'd say natural enough. Both of them quite natural. With the KSM8, I suspect, not as detailed. Cardioid polar pattern, we won't do them on the KSM8 now. Oh, Dent-Resistant Grill, it says about this one. Hardened steel carbon. I'm not going to drop it and test it, but I'm sure that's the case. This one is a bit springier and can be deformed. But you can also take it off and reform it because it's got a little bit of give. That's a KSM8. With all of them, you've got to be... Check out my video, pops and plosives and things on mics. So you're best off stopping that here as best you can. Because all of them... What can you do? I don't think you can avoid it. Moisture resistance, increased output. We decided not really. The shock mount, well... I think that's it. Unless the proximity thing is a biggie for you, And for me, it's slightly a negative, because I can do it on the desk, which I don't, or I can handle it myself, which I do mostly. There may be occasions where I'd need to do it on the desk. Most desks have got a cut, 75, 80 or 100 hertz, depending on the desk, and they've all got bass controls, which tend to be around 80. So with this one, you could just cut it down a bit if you wanted to. Overall frequency response isn't as broad as the older mic, the older design. I think the speed, I don't know what the diaphragm's made out of. This is a light Hostafan, a kind of mylar thing. Don't think the speed, don't think it's as fast as the older design. I don't know what to say, really. I think I'll leave it to your good selves. Occurred to me that maybe I should do some singing, because that's what they're intended for. So I'll have a go with a bit of this. KSM8. KSM8, let me give myself something. Excusez-moi. Listening on the KSM8. Listening on the KSM8. Yes, I am. Listening on the KSM8. Yeah. Listening on the KSM8. Yes, I am. Listening on the listening on the KSM8. Yeah, listening on the KSM8. Here we go. I should do listening on the KSM8. Yeah. This is on the bay. Yeah, this is on the bay. Yeah. This is on the bay. Yeah, this is on the Bayer M88. The M88. Yeah. Why not? This is on the road, classic. Yeah, this is on the road. Ha ha ha. This is on the road, classic. Yeah. This is on the KSM8, back on it now. This is on the KSM8 together now. This is on the KSM8. Oh, this is on the KSM8. Oh, this is on the KSM8. Oh, this is on the KSM8. This is the M88. Yeah, and this is the M88. Yeah, this is. KSM8. KSM8. M88. M88. That's about enough of that. Well, really, what I've got out of this is what an astonishing instrument this thing is. 1962 design. I mean, really.